Afar, baby, I knew you were all that I really wanted in my arms. When you smiled, you hypnotized. My heart was set on fire. That's enough, girl, I gotta feel just how soft you are. Ooh, baby, tell me, have you ever had real love? Ooh, baby, not the selfish blind love. Ooh, baby, I don't wanna complicate this. I know heartbreak makes you crazy, so why not be love crazy for me? Why not be love crazy for you? We can make all the love we need. So why not, if that's what we wanna do? It's cool. Just me and you.
Peace, peace, peace. Grand Rising, good morning. It's the Hood Mystic representing www.hoodmystic.com. Just want to say Grand Rising, good morning to the people who's joining me on this live. Peace to everybody who's catching this video post live. The title of this video is Multiplicity. Fair warning, I'm gonna probably be talking about some crazy shit. So if you're not really into crazy shit, probably not the video for you. Also, what I'm trying to do is be as practical and as reasonable and as realistic in the confines of spirituality as possible. So trying to expand and challenge the individual. Shout out to Conjure Mama. We were building last night. Please go subscribe to her channel. Tell her that the Hood Mystic sent you. That's a fact. So Conjure Mama, peace to you. What else? Yeah, so we're just trying to expand. And what's interesting, speaking of Conjure Mama and dealing with this energy, it really speaks to Venus going direct today. And so that's kind of the overall gist of what I'm saying. But let's jump straight into this astrology. Let's jump straight into what we came here for, and let's move. So Jupiter is going direct, 25 degrees. That's a fact. That's a fact. So Jupiter is going direct at 25 degrees. What does that speak to? Well, today is Friday. If you break down Friday and you get to like Freya and things of that nature and what is actually being said, to me, Venus represents freedom. Generally, Friday, you off of work, you got 2 days off, and it's time to have fun. It's time to enjoy yourself and things of that nature. And then Venus went retrograde on a Friday. Venus goes direct on a Friday. And so the reality is that our expansion, based upon the decan that it falls in, so it falls in the third decan, it's at the 25th degree, it speaks to a specific particular point, and then its aspects speak to more of what it's speaking to. What's happening is that Venus goes direct on what is a learning triangle. And a learning triangle is trying to teach us something new. And since it's fallen in the third decan, it's trying to teach us something new in the realms of commerce, expansion, and the reality of your efforts in that realm. Because when you speak of freedom, you don't get freedom without commerce and expansion. Whether you even get married to a rich person, like, you still had to put some effort into, you know, meeting somebody, getting to know somebody, that person getting to know you. And it's all about connections and trades of, you know, services and all of that. Just proper exchange, proper energy exchange, giving, reciprocation. That's really going to lead to freedom. And so the concept to really work with Venus going direct is, as a man thinketh, so is he. As a woman thinketh, so is he. As a child thinketh, so is he, etc. So really, what are you, who do you think you are versus the actions that you're putting into your actual freedom is really going to be what's coming to light. Venus direct is like the beer goggles coming off. Because for these past 5 weeks, we've been living under, you know, beer goggles, and hopefully we haven't made decisions with those beer goggles, because now you'll be in a space as Venus go direct, those goggles come off, you begin to look at what happened over these 5 weeks, like, what the hell was I on? What was I thinking about? So now we're going to kind of deal with kind of where it kind of splits off into the crazy stuff that I talked about earlier, the normal stuff, as Conjure Queen would like to say. And right off the rip, 25 degrees squared, North Node in Cancer. Cancer is just transited into a new, the North Node is just transited into a new sign. Right off the rip, the idea of the individual is coming under examination. What is an individual? Who is an individual? How do you kind of view yourself in this collective consciousness, in this world with close to 8 billion people, the idea of an individual? Because it's one or two things. If you're trying to figure this out by yourself, you don't have nobody with you, nobody in your corner, that's going to be difficult moving into this new shift of consciousness. You have to have a team. You have to have people behind you. And even so, those people behind you, those people that's a part of your team, they're not individuals. It's a collective. Like, y'all all represent one body. Y'all all represent one movement. These are the people that's winning. These are the people that are thriving, the people that can understand the idea of collective in unison, versus the people who just trying to make it by themselves. And I would challenge a person who says, you know what, it's all about me, I don't need anybody. I would challenge you to that. Like, you would have to really explain that to me, but not on the live, not in the comments, like the Gmails of how you live in a world isolated. Generally, if you live by yourself, it would be hard to even send me an email, because who is your internet service provider? Who's your phone service provider? These all represent other people that we have to be connected with. So, you know, this idea of being isolated, and then an ego attached to this isolation, this idea of, you know, maybe I'll figure it out all by myself. The reason why I titled this video Multiplicity, because multiplicity is a concept, but it's also a movie. And it's like an older movie with the same guy from Batman. The first Batman, Michael Keaton, I think his name is. And Multiplicity was a movie about a man who was cloned, but something happened and these clones kind of just went out of control. But at the beginning, when he first got cloned, he had 4 clones that represented 4 different parts of his being. Like, he even had a retarded part of his being, like a retarded clone, and it was like parts of his psyche. And the retarded person, or like the slow part of him, he would be just eating all crazy and drinking all crazy. And I was watching it like, yo, this movie's crazy, because like that's how, you know, I got that part of me too, where I just might smash or just drink and just be like all crazy. But then I got this refined self, and then I got like this lover self, and then I got like all of these different parts of me that I feel, that I know exist, that have to manifest in other ways and other people. It's the idea of multiplicity versus the idea that you could be stuck in an idea where you have this individual personality, and it could be a way that you've been for so long. And then this energy comes and it shakes you out of that personality. That's really the trouble. But then there's a lot of people who don't give a fuck about that personality, will transform that personality, will get out and go and really follow where spirit is leading them, because generally our different aspects, our different parts of ourselves, even if it's not accepted, it's still the true us. So this Venus square Cancer and this true self come into surface. The square is in, can we honor the true self without being embarrassed, shamed, or feeling like, you know, that's not me, or I don't know that person, when on everything, anything that comes to surface, it could be something that we're trying to hide, or something that we're trying to keep away from people and things of that nature, and not really realizing that this other part of us that's coming to surface is for our greater good, our greater happiness. So then you have in conjunction to Mars from the North Node, that is the second leg of this learning triangle. This is going to completely misunderstand the idea of multiplicity when you misunderstand your impulses. If you can follow your impulses, now that Venus is direct, Venus is out of the beer goggle phase. Like, say for instance, your ex came through during the Venus retrograde and you moved them in and whatever the case may be, and now Venus goes direct and you're like, shit, that was the wrong move. But say for instance, y'all didn't move in, y'all didn't have sex, but y'all just built, like y'all just were like kept that healthy distance and balance, and like y'all realized some stuff over these 5-week periods. That's two different things. And if you kind of did the mature thing, now you're able to act upon those impulses because you built up enough cachet of information. If you didn't, then like, you know, you have to deal with the, you know, kicking them out or kicking her out, or, you know, back to the same situation that you left years ago. Now you back in it and you trying to figure out how the hell did you get back in this situation. But ultimately, of course, nobody did that. Everybody is like living in proper, making proper choices on YouTube, I know. But ultimately, this time speaks to spiritual group fulfillment if we're able to understand the idea of multiplicity, understand the idea of spiritual groups coming back together. And even if you feel as though like you don't want to do spiritual things with people, it don't have to be actual people. Like, spiritual groups can manifest on this plane as spiritual beings, but they can be under the guise of human beings. So I know that's kind of like, that's why I say I'm gonna begin to say something crazy, but I just would hope that we can open our minds to understand that it's not the idea of being connected to everybody on the planet, but your spiritual soul group exists. Your spiritual soul group is going to manifest as human beings. If you look at these spiritual soul groups as like individuals or personalities that you have personal problems with, like, you know, oh boy, kind of ugly, or I don't really like old girl's voice, she irritate me, then you're looking at that person as an individual and you're not looking at that person as a spirit, as a soul. And so looking at a person as a spirit, as a soul can bring full context on what it is that you need to be doing. And you have to be very clear that everybody is going in the same direction as well. This is part of the soul group coming together as well. And this could be very subtle. This could be over a long period of time, but as Venus goes direct, as we really deal with this energy of expansion, of trade, and really being with our soul groups, it's gonna be a part of your efforts to realize what's actually happening. Now, you could think in a way where everything is just normal, everything is just, you know, like it's been, or you could really understand the shift and what this shift represents and how this shift is playing out for you and the different things that you're about to do with this shift and tides. It's either or. And so the last leg, where you have Mars and Moon trine back to Venus, Venus going direct in Libra, it's really much of a question of will. Now, this whole time we've been talking about transcendence this week. That was kind of the goal of this build, where we were, first video was transcendence and things of that nature, and yesterday we had the video clip from the movie Transcendence, and the lead character in that movie, his name was Will. His last name was Castor. So if you break that down, it's Will Castor, or the caster of will, meaning that what you will do is important. Will is something that you use and utilize the present and speaking it into the future. So what I will do is simple. Like, and a lot of times we don't will what we truly want into existence. We will what we don't want into existence. We do the things that we don't really like, or we do the things that really don't bring us sustainment. We do the things that don't bring abundance, etc., etc. And then we wonder, like, you know, why is this happening? You know, but if you can understand that the things that you want with this shift, right? Ultimately, with this shift, if there's something that you want in your life and you don't will it into existence, then that's the problem. Right? If we sit around and we just sit and wait for something to happen, dealing with this energy, we feel as like we got a whole YouTube list of videos that we run down without putting in no will or no action towards it. Then how do you plan on really manifesting? How do you plan on really getting some shit accomplished if you're afraid to use your will? What will you do? As opposed to asking a question, what is going to happen? You know, what's going to happen is based upon your individual will and the things that you're ready to bring to the table. The card of the day is the T-Bonange. And the translation of T-Bonange is little good angel. Little being the key word, because there is a gross Bonange, which is like big. So it's a little good angel and a big good angel. The little good angel is our personality. When we fall asleep, our personality leaves us. When we wake up, our personality is the first thing that, you know, happens. But the gross Bonange is not that. The gross Bonange is our life force. So when we fall asleep, the T-Bonange disappears, but still what remains is the gross Bonange, our heart beating, blood flowing, you know, breathing, all of those things that we truly need. But then you have your T-Bonange, who's like, you know, I can only do this, I can only do that. It's only so much I can do. And it's a lot of things that you worry about. It's a lot of things that you care about. But it's a lot of shit that's irrelevant when you really think about it. So ultimately, when working with the T-Bonange, I want to give the contemplation that she speaks to in this book. Do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law. A call to action based on who you are and your place in the world, an assertion of self, the discovery of the true self, and an overcoming of obstacles to the expression of the true self. So where are you at in doing what you want to do, or living out your will, or the things that you've always said to yourself? Now you're in a position to live it out. And that's how I feel. I feel that for years I've been practicing, developing, and understanding what I wanted to manifest, but I really couldn't exactly do it for some reason. Like, it was something that was holding me back. Now, with this shift of energy, I don't feel that anything is holding me back. What I do feel is holding me back is this personality, or these habits that I've adapted over time. And now when things are changing and things are shifting, it'll bring like a little subtle twitch of fear, like, oh my goodness, you know, my life is really changing for the better. Like, yeah, it is, you know. And we've actually had to work to uncover to get to this place. A lot of this shit was not overnight. We've been doing these daily energy readings 5 days a week since July, you know, and not for nothing. I think when we build with conscious people, and it's like at the beginning, it's like very vague and very weird, and you don't know why you're there, and why is you even lighting candles and burning incense and shit. Like, what is all of this for? But then when you really start to get in tune to self, and you get over this T-bondage, and you get to the gross bondage, or you put them all together, because the personality is needed. I'm going to need my personality moving forward, right? I'm going to need to be myself moving forward. But what drives me, what brings me here is my soul, right? My life force, the ability to breathe, to speak, to, you know, hear, all of these things that are uncontrollable by my personality, right? My personality can't be like, heart, stop beating, or stop breathing, or things of that nature. That's why I think that is so dangerous when people commit suicide in that aspect, right? Because you're taking your personality and turning it on your life force. Like, your life force determines when you die. Your life force determines when it's time to shut off. The same way your life force determines when you even had life. So with this personality that we have, what we're able to do, you could really develop something of what this life force, or utilizing this life force and incorporate it into your personality. What exactly does that look like, you know? Because you are a force of nature, you know. As much as people don't like you, as much as people talk shit about you, they not about to stop you from breathing. They not about to stop you from loving. They not about to stop nothing. And that's all due to your life force. And so giving respect and honor to your life force is going to bring about particular manifestations, realizations when you honor your soul. Every day I get on here and I'm trying to explain different ways that we could begin to in tune and love our living souls. That if you up here listening to this live today, then your heart is beating. You know what I'm saying? And you can't credit your thoughts. I don't care how smart you are. You're not smart enough to keep your heart beating. Keep your lungs from expanding, you know, and things of that nature, breathing. And it, like, nobody's that smart. There is a higher force at play for all of us, you know. And I think we take it for granted because there's so many people that are just simply living and existing. But when I look at my baby, like my little baby, and I see him growing and I see him developing, that's beyond what I could do as a father for him, you know. That's way beyond my scope. Like, I could only protect, nurture, and make sure that his soul is allowed to do what his soul needs to do for his life and his sustainment. And to me, that's one of the most beautiful, life-changing concepts to really understand, to really deal with. everything about others can lead, everything that irritates us about others can lead us to an understanding of ourselves. There is no birth of consciousness without pain. So if we ever was going through something, if we ever was processing something, if we ever had particular levels of grief, trauma, anxiety, fear, you know, if we didn't have a perfect life, if we didn't have the greatest of all things that was known to man, and we wanted to kind of deal with that, then that's great. Because now we are opened up to the development of conscious development. If everything is going perfect in our life, if everything is 1000, then we don't need to deal with no spirituality. We don't need to deal with no development. We don't need to grow. We don't need to learn how to love each other. We don't need to do shit but live in our perfect lives. But the reality is that we wouldn't even appreciate a perfect life if we didn't have a fucked up life. So now we're in this space where we could deal with everything that we've dealt with, process it, and move forward, you know, without the idea like, oh, I just lived a perfect life, and, you know, or I just lived a bad life and ain't nobody love me, and, you know, etc., etc. We're here for a reason. We're here to do alchemy. We're here to transmute any and everything that our ancestors have been through up to this point, where we've been dealing with the level of ignorance of spiritual connection, and now we have to bring that spiritual connection to the forefront and let these people know we not here for no reason. Being conscious is not a joke. Very life-changing shit that's happening if we understand the subtle natures of the invisible world. And understanding the subtle natures of the invisible world is where we are masters at. What's an example? If the beat drop right now, you'll start seeing all different types of rhythms and movements that you ain't never seen before just because the beat done dropped. Like, where did that come from? You was just sitting down having a drink, and then, you know, you heard Cash Money taking over for the 99 and the 2000, and then, you know, shit just went crazy from there, you know. And so that's just a level of our brilliance and our greatness that we're able to tap into levels just on that form alone. But when you're talking about consciousness and development and high spirituality, we already at the top, and the only thing that we need is perception, realization, and clarity to tap into our truth and our power, you know. And this is the time. We on the forefront. We on the cusp of realization of doing everything that niggas said that we wasn't gonna do. And we've already lived that, and we've already showed that. But now it's the continuation. Now it's the expansion. And this is what Venus Direct is really speaking to me about. So, hella wordy, early in the morning. I know y'all ain't trying to process shit this early. So, I leave that up to y'all to see if y'all could take notes and be challenged and think about how many different ways you show up. Because it's not just you. You see yourself over and over and over again. We are here. We're ready. I really appreciate Conjure Mama for jumping on the live with me, man. Much respect to everything that she got going on. Y'all don't even know how big this is for me. I do have it's like, you know, the divine feminine. We spoke to the divine feminine at the beginning of this Venus. That's crazy, right? Because we have a whole Venus retrograde, and then you have Conjure Mama on here as Venus goes direct, and then we talking about spirituality. Like, we not playing. Like, we is not playing, you know. So hopefully you'll see some stuff between me and her coming real soon. Y'all really enjoy that. Just very much of commerce and expansion. This was something that I had in my mind before going into this live, before going to sleep, and even as we talk, you know, even like she sent me a message, and I had a phone call at that same exact time, and shorty was like, you know, something's real big about to happen for you. And I'm like, yeah, I know, I see that shit like right in front of my face. And so just been grinding, man, just been focused and really feeling this energy go to the wreck, because you know what I'm trying to do is really take care of my family and promote freedom for my family, not even those people that's in my immediate family, my extended family that I've developed, you know, through this conscious experience. So I just really appreciate everybody who was on the live this morning, everybody, our special guest Conjure Mama for joining us, and yeah, man, just some RNS going down this morning. So everybody have a wonderful day. Be sure to email me www.hoodmystic.com, hoodmystic@gmail.com for clothing and merchandise, the cash shirts, www.colombianexchange, not with an E, just with an X. The link is in the description though. It is that time of the year. We'll be having some Black Friday sales starting next week, so be sure to join in to the lives next week. But we're going to keep this thing going, still doing it, still trying to grow, still trying to expand. But peace and love, y'all. Y'all have a wonderful day. Peace.